I've opened up the example assessment questionnaire, and if we look at it, you'll see that in the questionnaire, of course, we're asking a whole load of different questions. We're asking for the client's name, their address, their phone number, and all sorts of other stuff. We've also divided the questionnaire into different sections. We have the About You section. When they've filled out all of that, they can go to the next section, which we're calling Diet History, with more questions. And in the same way, we could make the questionnaire as long as we want, as many sections as we want, as many questions in each section as we want. When they filled out everything, they complete it and send it. Let's switch to the admin, and I'm going to go into Modules, Forms, and Setup, and let's open up that example questionnaire. So, Example Assessment Questionnaire. And in here, you'll see there's a section in the setup called Form Questions. By the way, if you're adding in a new questionnaire or form, you need to add it and save it before you can add in the questions. Once you've added in the main form, given it a name, given it a title, given it any settings you want, and saved it, then you can access the questions. And yeah, here you'll see all of the different questions. You'll see the About You section here in bold with name, address, phone number, and everything else. You'll see the Diet History section with the question in there. And in the same way, we could keep adding questions or change any of the existing questions. Let's maybe add a new question. Position is which position it is in the list of questions. Question 1, question 2, question 3, and so on. So if we wanted it to be, let's say, between birthday and height, we could make it position 8, and we would then move the other positions. Otherwise, let's simply leave it the way that it is. We can choose to make the question compulsory if we want. That means the client cannot submit the form until they've filled out this question. You'll see a little asterisk, a little star next to the names or the questions that are compulsory. In this one, we've only made the name compulsory, and I'd really recommend to keep the compulsory questions to as few as you possibly can. Some clients might get confused if you have a lot of compulsory questions. They won't be able to submit the form because you're making everything compulsory, and they won't realize why. So I'd really suggest keep it to an absolute minimum, maybe client's name, email, things you absolutely have to have, otherwise don't. You have an option to start a new section, so we did that with the Diet History. We said start new section and call it Diet History. I don't want to do that here. I want to keep question 11 within the Diet History. And then we have a question title. Let's say, for example, something like this. Keep the title as short as you can, just a few words. If you need to add a more descriptive title, you can use what we call the hint. You actually see hints here in this form too. So this is the title up here, and this little text underneath where it says, if I zoom in, maybe you can see it, it says, keep the title short so that it's easily readable. That's what we call a hint. So write as much as you like in the hint, but keep the actual title fairly short. You have options to auto-connect to various different parts of your website. Forget about that most of the time. There's a separate video where we look at that. That's a slightly more advanced type of questionnaire or form. And the only thing that you then need is the type. So you can choose what type of a question is it, or rather what type of answer should your client be able to give. They can give a short text answer. They can give a long answer as long as they want. They can enter a number either with decimals or without. They can choose from various drop-down options. You can have checkboxes where they're allowed to check one of the boxes. You can have checkboxes where they can check as many as they like. And you can have a date. For most of them, there's nothing you need to do except choose it. So if let's say I want this answer to be a long answer, I could say long text box, and then I simply save it, and it's done. If I wanted to say how many meals do you eat, I want to give maybe the client options to choose from. I could choose drop-down options, and then the options box will appear, and I can write the different options in here. I can say I eat 1 meal a day, and I separate my options with what we call the pipe symbol, like this. Or I eat 2 meals each day, 3 meals each day, or more than 3. Something like this. In this case, the client would have a drop-down, just like this drop-down here. And the options they would see would be 1 meal, 2 meal, 3 meals, 4, more than 3 meals. They could choose whichever one they want. So yeah, choose the type that you want. When you've got it, save it. Let's maybe go back to the other screen and just refresh this form. And now if I go onto the second page, we'll see our new question where it says how many meals do you eat each day, and they can choose whatever they want. So in this way, you build up whatever questions you want. If you want to remove a question, you simply open it up, and there is an option to delete it. It will say, are you sure? I'm going to say, yep, I'm sure, and it will delete it. If you want to add in new ones, you can add in new ones. You want to reorganize them, you can. And you want to change any of them, you just open it up and change it. If you want to temporarily deactivate a question for some reason, let's say I've changed my mind, I don't want to ask age and birthday, but maybe I'll add it in again at some point, uncheck the active box and it will disappear from the questionnaire for now. So yeah, I hope that made sense. Like I said, there were a couple of more advanced options with connecting questions to different parts of the website. If you want to learn how to do that, there's a separate video. Watch that video to learn how to do that. Otherwise, I hope this made sense with how you can add questions and create your forms and questionnaires any way that you want them.